Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back for another video. The first video of this new format, so please bear with me with any kinks, with any glitches that may happen with video, audio. I'm getting back into the swing of things with the video, so bear with me and I really appreciate the patience. So cool things have happened in this last week or so with golf. Not really in the lesson down. Lessons have been steady as usual, but really I went on my first ever golf trip with my friends in my entire lifetime, funny enough. So for people who know me, I've been known to be kind of like anti-traveling. While that may have half been the case, it wasn't because I didn't want to travel. It was because I focused on growing this coaching business and trying to be as best of a coach as I can for any students of mine. So I really just started traveling in the last 2.5, 3 years or so. My first vacation being in November of 2023. And this golf trip I went on with my friends, 7 friends from the golf club, was my first ever golf trip with friends this past weekend. So we went down to South Carolina and we played a golf course called Broomsedge Golf Club. It's spelled Broomsedge, Broomsedge, but it's pronounced Broomsedge if you ask anyone at the club. So we went down to this new golf club, Broomsedge, which opened last October, and it was really the most fun I've had on the golf course, if I can really recall previous golf experiences. So I've been lucky to be able to play a lot of cool courses, been invited by friends and students of mine. And Broomsedge was really cool in the sense that we don't really experience this kind of golf in the Northeast here in Toronto, Canada. Very sandy. The topography is really interesting. The aesthetics of it is very different than what we ever see here in Toronto. And the cool thing about it is while we were there, they were hosting the Carolinas Invitational, a two-man best ball tournament. And they had the course completely set up totally different both days. So we played Saturday, Sunday, teed off around 2 p.m., followed the tournament, and really the tournament setup they had was super fun. Now, the cool thing about Broomsedge, for people who don't know, and if you guys don't know about it, feel free to Google, go on Instagram, go on YouTube, is there's 3 holes, I believe, that has 2 different greens. 2 different greens to hit 2 with multiple tee deck options. And that really gives a lot of variety for course setup, whether it's for members, whether it's for guest play, whether it's for tournament play. And they even set up a lot of cool tee decks that weren't really the typical tee deck allocation on the golf course. They were just putting tee markers in random spots, not random in the sense that's not planned, but random in the sense that it's not where the designated tee marks are for normal play. So that was a really cool thing to play. Couple of standout holes are very different. Is number 8 par 3 is a 300-yard par 3, which is really cool. Had a kind of like an inside joke with my friends where some guy said he could hit iron because it's downhill par 3, and funny enough, someone did hit a iron on the green, 2-iron, pin high, made birdie, which is really cool highlight of the trip because the course was playing pretty tough. Greens are really tough, but really the course was so fun to play. There's so much variety. We talked about memorable holes and tried to figure out what the weakest hole was, and really we couldn't really think of a weak hole in particular. Every single hole was quite memorable and quite fun to play. So we look forward to going back to Broomsedge probably in late March when it gets a little warmer in South Carolina. So it's in South Carolina in a town called Rembert. We stayed close by in Camden and hotels there, and we honestly had a great time. Flew down to Charlotte, drove the hour 50 to get to Camden. We played 18, had dinner, stayed overnight, had brunch, played 18, and then drove back up to Charlotte and left. So it was a really cool trip. It was really fun. And I look forward again to my next golf trip with friends, the second golf trip ever in my short golf life. So aside from that, on the lesson front, I think a lot of us are heading into the off season here in Toronto. Some of us, I've started off-season planning early because they may be more fair weather golfers. They aren't going to really play in October. So we're just jumping ahead, going to off-season training. Now, when it comes to off-season training, depending on the level of golfer you are, we may or may not just not give a shit about the results in the short term. Now, for most average golfers, improving the form is the most important. Contact will always follow form. I've yet to meet someone with good form, with a good motion, with poor contact. So eventually the contact will catch up. So for most average golfers, I would even say, like 10 handicap and above, if they truly want to make sustainable changes to become a low handicap for the following season, we just disregard the contact and we just jump straight into off-season training, trying to improve the structure, trying to improve the motion. Now, if they are a better golfer, let's say last week we posted a lesson with Ryan, who's a Mid-Am champion here in Ontario, who's won a lot of tournaments here in Toronto, things are different. We obviously have to give a shit about the content. We have to give a shit about the results. So we work on things a little bit differently. So I'm going to continue doing lesson videos with Ryan. I'm going to post it on YouTube for you guys to follow along. For you guys who are better players, hopefully that will help you guys plan out your own work with your own swings and how it could affect your own play and how we could try to mitigate the downside to miss hits based on making new changes. And I'm going to also have lesson videos with a more high handicap, mid handicap player, maybe 10 handicapper or 20 handicapper and beyond. And we're just going to jump straight into it. I don't care if they shank the ball for a week or so. I'm just trying to help them improve the core motion as fast as we can. So that's going to be the plan for the off season with a lot of my clients now. For guys who are still playing until maybe Halloween, November, off season will start in a week or two. So it really depends on what the student wants. But that being said, options are there depending on level of play, depending on student expectations. So this is an exciting time for improving golf just because we have 6 months of uninterrupted practice ahead of us here in Toronto. So it's always a good time to work on some sustainable changes for the long-term future for people's golf games and golf swings. So follow along as we head into that over the next few weeks and beyond. And we're going to jump into the instruction video of the week. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back for another video. The off season is almost here, so let's talk about how to make this off season the most productive one yet. So in my opinion, when we have the off season, especially for us here in Toronto, where we don't have to play golf for 5-6 months in a row, the lack of distractions really help us focus on the task at hand. So for a lot of people, if you can improve the way you move and the way you swing, which will then affect how you move the club and how you deliver the club into the ball, that will then help you add some better predictability to the shots come April and May. So what should we do first in this off season? Well, for most people, structure is probably going to be the most important thing to help you guys improve your golf swings. Now, this may not apply to everyone here watching, but generally speaking, improving one's structure tends to lead to good results. And what do I mean by structure? Well, when we make that backswing, we want to make sure that all the moving parts move in sync and together. Okay, we want to make sure the arm, hand, club unit as one moves together with the turn. Okay, so from the face-on view, we want the turn to move in sync with the arm, hand, club unit. People who aren't very synced, who have poor structure, typically have the club move on its own, the hands and wrists go and the arm go on its own, and then the torso goes at the very end. They're not synced up. That tends to lead to poor structure. Things tend to be very narrow, meaning hands are very close to your body, very narrow, wrist is out of control, and typically if the wrist is out of control, the club face and the club head is also out of control. So we want to improve the structure. How do we do that? Well, to start, when we start set up, the arm, hand, club unit is already set up as one unit. Elbows are together. Everything is in front of your chest. We want to make sure that from here, we want to make sure that everything can move together. So as an exercise, just to start the off season, we want to be able to make a proper half swing, meaning the turn of the body moves the unit, the turn of the body moves the unit on both sides of the ball. We want to make sure that the arm, hand, club unit stays intact as a turn in the backswing, and then it stays intact as a turn in the downswing, and it stays intact as a turn into the finish. You can see my wrist hasn't turned over, my wrist hasn't bent, my arm hasn't bent. I haven't added any bend to any of these parts of my body. We want to just keep things intact. So when we set up, all we want to do is make a half swing. I don't care how far or how short I hit the ball. All I want is to make sure my torso turn is what moves the arm unit in the backswing, and my torso turn is what moves the arm unit in the downswing. And when that happens in the downswing, you can see I know my lower body is leading away, but ultimately it's the torso turn that is moving my arms because my arms are attached to my torso. So what do we want to do? We set up, arm hand club unit is together. We're gripping the club firm. I turn. My torso turns what moves the unit. I turn the other way. My torso turn moves the unit. I'm not doing this. This is me moving my arms on its own. My torso turn's not doing much. We don't want that. A lot of people, when I teach for the first time, cannot do a proper half swing. Meaning when they try this, a lot of that happens. A lot of bad contact happens because if they don't do a proper half swing, the low point and the delivery of the club is very unpredictable. So to build this predictability, we want to make sure we just rely on the turn, get comfortable with the turn to move this arm hand club unit. So one more time for you guys, we set up, everything looks great. The turn of the body moves the arm hand club unit. So you can just think about chest faces the camera, chest faces the screen, okay? Chest face the camera, chest faces the screen, and hold your finish for 3 seconds. That's what we want to do. If I do one from face on quickly here for you guys, I'm going to think chest faces the down the line camera, chest faces the screen. I'm going to hold my finish for 3 seconds. We want to make sure when we do this, your backswing, downswing moves at the same speed, and the arm hand club unit really doesn't move much. It's just the torso turn that moves this arm unit. Turn and turn, hold my finish for 3 seconds, just to help you build proper movement of making sure everything is synced up. You have good structure in the first half of the swing, because if your half swing is poor with poor structure, with poor delivery, chances are your full swing is not going to be very good as well. So let's work on that first, just to warm this up into that off season. We have maybe 1 month left in the season, so let's get a kickstart on it by just kind of building this half swing for you guys when you practice. Okay, so hope that helps. Any questions, leave in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, guys.